Tonight on Debate Amongst Friends, Doc and Prof discuss the U.S. Open and Serena Williams debacle, NFL Week 1 recap, and Week 2 predictions, and so much more starting now.
Ladies and gentlemen of the internet, this is season. Sorry about the long delay, but it's raining, it's pouring, but the doc is. I am the Professor John Gotti, and I am the advocate of the reigning, defending, undisputed podcasting champion of the world. They say the universe, Doc Lesnar. How you doing tonight, sir?
The podcast beast, Doc Lesnar. I am in the building. I'm doing good. Great week so far, despite the Hurricane Florence trying to not make me or let me be great. Things are going good. How are you doing, sir?
Me? I'm feeling. Oh, so good now.
And that's the way the cookie. That's fantastic. It sounded like it had a little chocolate chip action. What was that?
No, some chocolate oatmeal? Chip. No oatmeal. Some chocolate chip, courtesy of the Duchess. Just killing it.
She should have her own cooking show over there. It seems like every week we're getting something different. Last time we had a little cornbread action.
Yes, last week we had cookies. This is cookies Marc Deuce.
There you go. So I mean, we have to make we might have to have a little cooking show, cooking amongst friends. I don't know.
Cooking amongst friends. Cooking for foodies.
Cooking for foodies. That's good. Jot it down. Come on. Hey, jot that down. Right now.
Anywho.
Yes.
We got ourselves a short show, but we got some controversy to talk about. I mean, I'm ready to talk about it. Are you ready to talk about it, sir?
I am.
It doesn't matter what you're ready for.
Wow. Wow. I can't believe that just happened. Just want to be ready though.
Man, it's been 7 days since we debated, we agreed, disagree, go into the fact, give people the predictions, give them the reads. Every single Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. good. Eastern Standard Time, right here on YouTube, and catch us in all of our podcast applications.
Right.
Started controversy in the tennis world. We're talking about tennis, ladies and gentlemen. And that's because the media is talking about it. People who don't know tennis are talking about it. People who just hate certain swoops to tell people to just do it are talking about it. So we're going to talk about it. Serena Williams lost in the finals of the U.S. Open on Saturday to a 20-year-old, and they call her a tennis prodigy, Naomi Osaka, in straight sets. Now, the controversy comes from, and I'm going to talk about both sides here. One side of the table is saying that Serena was acting out of pocket. She was showing immaturity. She was trying to be an elitist, trying to basically pull her weight around. And the consequences is as what you've seen. She was warned, then she lost the point, and then subsequently lost the game for 3 particular violations. The first was getting outside coaching. Then she lost the point after she slammed her racket. And then she ultimately lost one of the games because she was verbally abusing the line judge or the referee, however you want to look at it. I mean, it's pretty much judge. Got it right there in the middle. But that's one side of the equation. On the other side of the equation, people were saying multiple different things. One in particular was she was being targeted because of what she was doing with the Nike promotion.
Sure.
But on the other side of that same coin, well, I guess you could say on the other half of that side of the coin, Serena even said herself that she felt like she was targeted because of her sex. People were saying that the judges in tennis tends to harsh women a lot more deeper, and we're going to get into that. And of course, multiple different things. But I mean, I had a chance to mull over it, but I want to hear what the doc, no, not just me, the people, you, the people, want to know what the doc thinks. What do you think about this?
So, I mean, when I first heard it, I initially thought of what I think we experienced at an Evo or one of the gaming competitions this year. I think it was Hungry Box who received coaching and people were giving him ridicule.
That was 2 years ago. Yeah.
2 years ago. Okay.
Yeah. Well, technically we last year, but 2 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago, and people were giving him flack for it, saying that he got coaching or whatever. And I don't know how coaching works in tennis. I would imagine you probably can only get coaching in between sets. I would have to imagine the way it's set up. But my thing is the second two portions, racket destruction and verbal abuse. I mean, I don't like to be cheated. So if she felt she was being cheated, then that would basically give just cause for the racket destruction and potentially the racket destruction. Let me stop there. The verbal abuse comes in after realizing that you're saying that I'm a cheater. So you're saying, so now I'm being cheated because you're scoring me unfairly because of something that I didn't do or whatever. And then I'm verbally abusing you because you're basically now causing my whole character to come into question. And that's kind of one of the things that she was saying out loud, like you will never work in this town again. I mean, basically, in a nutshell. In other words, I'm making it comical, of course, but to me, I think people are giving the winner,
Naomi Osaka.
I feel like this is going to give her one of those LeBron James asterisks. And I think that's why they're making it such a big deal.
I think the people, not you, the people, because you're all loyal fans, so we appreciate you. Right. But the people, in a generalized sense, are trying to impose this asterisk. And I don't know if you've seen the video. I mean, we put it out there on the social medias for everyone to get a chance to listen to. Facebook.com/Debate Amongst Friends, @DebateAmongFra on Twitter as well, too. We put out the actual video of what happened during the actual title ceremony. And at first I thought, people were saying, the winner was getting booed. But, I mean, part of the issue was also the crowd. And the other big part of the issue, and the Duke and the Duchess talked about it with me as well, too, off the stream a few days ago, was also the president of the U.S. Open as well, too, showing the blatant favoritism. And my response was, well, isn't, sports in general, especially, the four major sports, don't we normally try to root for that underdog? Like, don't we cheer whenever we see an underdog defeat the big bad wolf, so to speak?
Not necessarily, because I think in these sports, I think there are only certain money makers. Like, there are only certain big money makers, and this goes back to kind of what the Duke's point maybe a year ago now, when we talked about the protests. These companies, it's all about the money. So she knows Serena brings in the dollars. I mean, not saying that Serena didn't make a lot of money. I mean, she made $1.85 million just for losing at this event. I mean, that's no small chunk of change, but the advertising, like the amount of money that goes into this, if she wins, I guess maybe that brings more notoriety to the sport. And knowing that, Serena, who's in that Nike campaign and somebody who's up there and one of the best athletes in the world, I think she just probably was like, oh, it's a travesty that she probably thought it was a travesty that it had to end like this. But I mean, ultimately it did. I mean, and there's nothing she could do about it.
But we're talking about someone who's a 23-time grand champion, though. Yeah, if it was LeBron James and he's trying to go for, number 4, yeah, I can understand that claim. But we're talking about a 23-time champion.
It's kind of like the Undertaker streak,
in which we both agreed, had he walked away, it wouldn't have been a big issue. But looking at it retrospect, like, I understand why they did it, and it brought more notoriety to Brock Lesnar after he defeated the streak.
Yeah, yes and no. I mean,
if you take away,
my feelings,
the feelings of it, and I don't want you to get in your feelings.
Yeah, I don't want to get too deep in there.
But when you look at it unbiasedly and with clear eyes, it was the right move, because it helped Brock Lesnar get pushed. And the same case can be made for Naomi Osaka. It should be doing that. But now, the first impression of people who want to start watching tennis is, well, this person's terrible because the whole stadium is booing her. But I mean, her interview, did you get a chance to listen to the interview there? In fact, I was listening to a couple of interviews she did. She did one with the Today Show, and she's very nice. She's kind with her words. She doesn't sound like she's rough around the edges. She's very humble about the whole experience, being able to play against her idol growing up. Like, she's, she was talking about how she was in 3rd grade and she did this drawing, of her idol and about her wanting to play her idol. And she was able to have that dream, that, dare I say, boyhood dream become a reality.
And I mean, that's all great, but it's not the fact that you won. It's the fact of how they're looking at it as how the match ended. So think about it. You're in the crowd. Number one, she's what, Japanese and Haitian, right? So most of the people in the crowd, and this is not to judge them, but just thinking about like a WWE crowd, NFL, NBA crowd, most fans of any sports, most of the time, they're crazy. I mean, come on. So most of them are like, probably some of them are thinking USA, 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 Serena, 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 oh, we hate Nike. Oh, Serena's so great. You know what I mean? So it's probably a whole bunch of emotions going on. So now they're sitting in the crowd. There's a commotion going on between Serena and the judge. And they're like, well, what's going on? And then somebody comes on and says, hey, she's been docked a point. And they're like, where they do that at? Especially people who know the sport of tennis. I don't watch tennis. So I know that my brother off the stream, Shadow, he mentioned that there were guys who made a living off of breaking their rackets and cursing at the judges, but they didn't always get a point deducted.
There are Hall of Fame tennis players, male tennis players, who would basically be red at the face, just furiously yelling at these judges, like basically calling them names, talking about their mother, talking about their, like, really going in.
Right.
And they don't get penalized.
And that's where Serena comes in.
Meanwhile, you know, and this had me dive deeper into the dark world of the internet, and I found multiple different very intriguing arguments, both on a psychological perspective, in fact, of actual numeric facts to back up the claim that female tennis players actually get more penalized than male players, especially when it comes to verbal abuse. And that was something that I thought was very, very intriguing to find out. You know, because we were already talking about how the WNBA is not getting the attention that they deserve, you know, and we just got finished having the second game of the WNBA finals, in which the Storm managed to squeeze past that one.
Fantastic.
But, you know, now they look at it like this, and we have people like Stephen A. Smith saying, well, you know, Serena had a point until she brought up sexism. Now her point is invalid. And I don't agree with that. First of all, Stephen A. Smith, you little pissant. I'm still calling you out every single week. You and your receding hairline.
Oh, God.
And Jalen Rose was right to talk about your suit that day.
My thing is, it's like, if that's what it is, then you call it what it is. Like, you can't hide it. You can't, like, if she went out there and say, oh, this is just backlash because, you know, I'm on with Nike, people would have been like,
but she didn't say that. She was quick to go to, this is sexist.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, she would have, that's what I say. If she would have went and said, oh, this is just the whole backlash from Nike, people would have been like, yeah, it's kind of a stretch, but I think people would believe because they've seen it. Like, people would believe. Wait a
minute. People believe that. People believe it's retaliation because of her campaign. Her being in alliance with a brand that is in, you know, that is partnered with Colin Kaepernick versus obvious sexism in the sport of tennis, a sport that has such regale for many of years that within the nobles.
They would have ate that up because you know that in most sports, and we talked about this last week with the discrepancy, just to say of pay, I would like to see what the men are getting paid in tennis versus what the females are getting paid in tennis. I mean, we can look into that and see deeper, but once anything like racism or sexism comes out, people talk about it. I mean, let's just think about the overall Kaepernick protest, and we go back. I mean, the whole idea of it really is, it has nothing to do with anything but injustice. But somehow it's come into a long string of things. She might be sitting there like, you know what, this is a number of things, but you want to know what the number one thing I think it is? I think it's sexism. And people are like, whoa, you know what I mean? We love women, you know, we love women tennis, we love you know what I mean? But I think another thing is...
But the problem is, and I see to that point, and I hate to interrupt you, but like, as soon as you start going, whoa, like, are you just looking at it at face value, or are you trying to think deeper? And that's why I posted, you know, those articles about it. And did you have a chance to read those articles yet?
I didn't get a chance to anything. I've been watching the storm all day. But let me just tell you, though.
And we're not saying Jack friend.
Right. Now, let me just say this. The one thing you have to keep in mind, all we're talking about athletes, there are some people, not so much myself, there are some people who don't see color, race, religion, or sex. So once people start bringing it up, they're like, I didn't forget that you were a woman, but I wasn't focused on the fact that you were a woman. I just see you as an athlete.
Well, and this is gonna need to open up the sponsor for tonight.
Okay.
Well, and this is the part that's intriguing because I'm listening to First Take, I'm listening to Undisputed, you know, I'm watching Get Up, I'm watching all these, you know, sports media outlets, And there's so many conflicting thoughts, but I want to focus on the first take part real quickly, where Stephen A. Smith went through this referee history. Like, it's to the point to where if you need to start identifying small pieces of information to make your point, and there's not really a whole lot of backing behind it, it's not really a good point to make. But he's identifying, you know, several small instances where the same referee is enforcing the rules in the same manner. Now, we can all agree that Serena Williams definitely violated the rules. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, I'm saying that to you right now. She did violate those rules. The problem is whether or not those rules should be enforced. Because, and we talk about this all the time, especially with basketball, where there's always that gray area that referees can approach the game, where they can and let the people play the game, you know, and let them really dictate terms. Whereas in this instant, it was literally back to back, and it wasn't towards the end of the actual match. It was around that midway point. So just for reference point. But like, you know, we talk about how the referees can either, you know, dictate how the game's going to end or dictate the flow of the game. Because, I mean, you said it yourself many a times with your James Harden, you know, the referees.
Harassment.
James Harden out of his games.
But let me ask you, though, I mean, isn't that a reason, though, for the fan, from a fan perspective, that's a reason to boo? It's not Osaka's fault, but that's a reason to boo.
And here's the kicker: they did boo the referee. They booed they did boo the judge, and they booed the judge as he was leaving. Now, if they would have left at that point and kept the booing to that moment while he was leaving, this wouldn't have been an issue. It's the fact that after he left and they're handing the awards, they're booing the winner.
Because she won because of a technicality. Same way I'm booing. I'm booing the Warriors because they won because they harassed James Harden. I would do the exact
Okay, first of all, and I'm going to say this right now. I'm going to say this right now. Now, while I understand your plight, it doesn't matter because your team still had one of the worst shooting streaks in playoff history.
We didn't until the refs started messing up with the calls. I'm telling you, we were 10 to 15 points.
See, you tell me that now, and yet how many times have you told me after the Rockets win? Oh yeah, the referees are over here just trying to hold James Harden down, trying to mess up the team. Oh, but what happened? Y'all shoot yourselves back into this game.
So now we can't shoot ourselves back in the game.
And wow! I can't believe he's saying that. I can't believe he's saying that.
But I mean, my thing is the part you won the game.
But the part that bothers me is
like doesn't happen in tennis.
But that's the problem though. Like, now, you know, people are going to start crying out, well, how come this hasn't happened before? Because people are going to start checking the tapes. And they're going to see, guys,
Of course they're going to check the tapes.
Of course. So now they're going to be like, well, how come the referees don't do this all the time? So now it's going to bring more scrutiny to it.
You also got to keep in mind that these fans might treat Serena the same way people treat LeBron. Serena might have that LeBron fan base that we don't know about because tennis is not that widespread. Like, you don't get in the barbershop until this. You know, we're not talking about tennis in the barbershop. We're just not doing it. You know, when we're out doing whatever, we're not like, hey, you know, did you see that backhand that Serena did last week? Ooh, it was so good. We don't do that. But now we know that we feel like some people feel like Serena got cheated. The Serena Williams Serena maniacs might be out there like, listen, Serena should have won her 23rd, 24th, 28th championship. And this Japanese Haitian girl out here, you know, just winning because of technicality, because this this referee got a thumb up his butt, and he'll never work in this town again. Serena's words. He's lucky to still be alive.
Okay, I believe Serena's words or wording were along the line of he's stealing. He's a thief. I don't believe she said that he'll never work in this town again. That's
she said she did say that. She said he'll never work her. I'm just throwing in.
And I'm actually going to get to a point to there in a second. But number two, did you really just compare the fan bases of Serena Williams and the LeBron Maniacs? Are you serious?
Oh, do you know? Can you confirm that?
Oh, don't say that. You already know I could do that. Don't do that to me.
You can them?
Don't do that to me. All I gotta do is find all we have. This is the internet age, bro. You already know. People, you can find that out real fast.
I think Serena
because had there been such a fandom, and I'm saying this right now because I read all these comments and I look at all these forums for these aftermaths, and these are both casual fans and actual fans. I have not seen one person say, "Oh, whatever," but Serena's still the best, like a LeBron maniac.
They're out there, I'm sure. You might not. I mean, you could look through all the comments. They are out there, I'm pretty sure, and that's why the whole comment about her winning her 22nd and 23rd in a row and all those other, not in a row, but and this girl only winning her first one, it shouldn't be a big deal. But it's like, bro,
no. The controversy began based off of Serena Williams' ranking.
Of course.
So she was already perturbed by that. And during these finals matches, things boiled over. Now, had she was herself, we'd all be having a different conversation. But she didn't compose herself. At the same time, the referee also didn't take control of the situation to not let it escalate past that first warning.
So, but being cheated.
But I do want to say this, though. Speaking of the referees, and I don't know if you heard this, but this morning, for the Judges Association for Tennis, I don't know what they're actually called, are now seeking to boycott Serena Williams matches.
Because she said that he would never work in this town again. It's like, I'm telling you. Once she said that, he was like, oh, really? Okay. You want to get paid, right? Like, you better come and officiate this match. Because and that's going to assume that she's always been this way. And that's what's going to probably come out. Like, oh, she's always
And that's the point
abusive.
I'm trying to make, because that's the mentality and that's the image that these outlets are now trying to paint Serena as.
And that's where sexism comes in. Because if we're saying that the men do it, and they're gonna still be at the men's game.
You now see my point.
but that's been also my point, because that's what I'm saying. Like, but we're talking about three different. We're talking about the game. We're talking about the officials, and we're talking about the fans. The fans booed the winner because of what they saw happen. Like, she didn't win because of they probably. Let me take it back. Mm-hmm. They don't feel that she won because of her overall skill. They might feel as though she won by technicality because of what was going on with the official. Therefore, they booed.
And I understand that. And you know what? That's a very fair thing to say. However, the fact of the matter is, she didn't win based off technicality. She won based off of skills.
Yeah, and to them, you're not going to be able to prove that. That's where Serena Maniacs come in.
And that's because, and I'm not just talking about the people in the stadium. I'm talking about the people who didn't even watch the flipping match. They're going to obviously think, and when you think of, and for us looking at it sports worldwide for, football and basketball mainly, when we say that someone got cheated out of a game, we're talking, crunch time, 5 minutes left to go kind of thing. No, this did not happen at that moment.
Absolutely.
But no one is trying to no one ponders when these things happened. All they know is
she was heated.
Yes, that's all people know about. That's all they see. That's all they're going to want to see.
And this is the last thing that we probably move on, but they paired it with her wearing the jumpsuit. Oh, they made her change the jumpsuit.
Exactly.
And now she can't even say nothing. She can't even get coached during the coaching period. You know what I mean? And now the officials are not gonna officiate her games.
And now you're starting to see that rabbit hole.
Oh, it's only because she's a black woman. That's how it's gonna be. She's a black woman.
Hey.
And he'll never work in this town again. I'm just saying what she said. That's what she said. You'll never work another one of my games. I think that's fair.
So
I wouldn't want him to coach my game. I wouldn't want him to do my games either.
A tennis great, Billie Jean King, actually weighed in on the situation as well. Billie Jean King, who is a Hall of Famer, who also is one of the founders of the Women's Tennis Association, the WTA.
Mm-hmm.
He said that Serena was out of line. There's no question about it. Once again, still saying the same things I've been saying. Then she said, when a woman is emotional, she's hysterical and she's penalized for it. When a man does the same, he's outspoken and there are no repercussions. She furthermore says, thank you, Serena Williams, for calling out this double standard. More voices need to do the same.
That's
is saying
that's a contradiction of a statement, though.
No one is saying she was a good sport if they're crazy. The point is, the judge aggravated the situation instead of, I'm not attacking your character, which is the most important thing he could have said.
Mm-hmm. All she wanted was an apology.
Williams claims the sexism were backed by the WTA, but the International Tennis Federation said that Ramos, I'm just going to say his last name, acted at all times with professionalism and integrity. King disagreed, said that he blew it. First of all, as an umpire, you're supposed to keep the flow of the match going, and he did just the opposite. That was the point that I was starting to allude to.
That's another contradicting statement.
But how is that contradicting?
All of it's contradictory. You can't say she was out of line and thank you for speaking out. Like, you can't be out of line.
How is that a double entendre, sir? How is that a double entendre?
If you were out of line, listen, if you're out of line, that means you're wrong.
She was saying what she did on the floor. She's not talking about her claim. What she did on the floor, the coaching violation, the breaking of the racket, and the verbal abuse. Because she said she started claiming sexism after the match in the post game interview. She's saying what she did on the court was out of
points away, though. He took points.
He took points and the game.
That's what I'm saying.
Points isn't so much of an issue. It's the game is the part that hurts.
What? He took points away.
He took a game away.
Points and a game. I thought it was both.
It is both.
He took a whole set and points, didn't he? He took a whole bunch away. He took a lot of things away.
That's what Billie Jean King is saying. So had he been able to try to reassess the situation and bring things back under control, then it probably would have been a bigger issue. But it was like lightning. You know, it flew up like a rocket from Houston, so to speak.
How is she wrong if he's saying that he didn't control the situation correctly?
Who are you talking about?
So if the referee, you said the referee said he was wrong?
No, this is quotes from Billie Jean King.
Right, somebody was wrong in the situation. Who's wrong here?
Okay, she said that Serena Williams is out of line for what she did on the court. Okay, then she said that the referee blew the situation.
So they both were wrong.
She acknowledged they're both wrong. I don't get what you're trying to say.
So if they're both wrong,
because you start out saying that how can she be wrong, but then still applaud her? But I'm trying to tell you that that's two separate situations she's talking about.
So if she blew up, let's say she blew up in the game.
It's like watching, the playoffs, and you see someone sit there and like cross check someone into the freaking scorers table. That person's wrong. He did it terribly.
Right.
But then if someone says, oh, well, blah, 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 with the refs, and they literally was hounding me all game, and we relook at the tapes, and you see, yeah, this ref was literally targeting you, because we already have a lot of instances of that in NBA history where the referees would be targeting people. And I mentioned this to one of our, subscribers, that, this happened to Allen Iverson for a majority of his career.
So in that situation, if you're saying that,
Billie Jean King is saying that. So she's applauding. So basically, what she's doing is applauding the fact that Serena is saying, yes, this is an issue. This is something that needs to be brought to attention, and I'm using my forum right now to talk about this.
So during the game, if she felt that this umpire was being sexist in the game, she's not allowed, you're saying, basically, to UN King here. She's not allowed to show or display her emotions because it's irrational, or whatever the word that they use here. Because basically that's what it was. She might have felt in that moment that he was being sexist right there in that moment and wanted to call him out on it.
Who are you talking about, sir?
I'm talking about Serena Williams. Serena Williams it might just not be about the point. She might have felt like, number one, the coaching part was wrong. I get that part. But you break a racket and you start talking all this crap because at that moment you feel like, hey, you're treating me differently. You're not treating me like the guys. I know guys, I've heard guys say much worse to you and other people, and you're telling me you're going to do what because of what? No, we're not going. It's not going down like that. And then afterwards, she goes ahead and talks about sexism and whatnot. So, I mean, it could have been sexism on the court and in the interview. She could have just felt that way. She could have just felt that he was being sexist towards her. It made her go crazy. And then she just talked about it in the interview.
I don't know. I think that's reaching now, sir. I think that might be reaching. I think that might be reaching.
How? I mean, if she says it, listen, it could have been anything. It could have been anything. We don't know. We're just speculating because we weren't there. But my thing is, if you're arguing a point like that, and she was really, really determined to get that apology because she really felt like she was wrong, and she felt like he was really messing up her character. And she also felt, and I really believe this, that if it was a man, he wouldn't have done this. I'm telling you, that's why I think she was more upset at that. The fact that if it was a man, it wouldn't have happened. So it might have been sexism the whole time.
That's not how she felt. Narrative. She said that.
Then there would have been no reason to bring. Then that proves Stephen A. Smith's point. There would have been no reason to bring it up later on. If she didn't feel that way on the court, there would have been no reason to bring it up afterwards. If that's the case, if you didn't feel like he was being sexist on the court, then what's the point of bringing it up later?
And the biggest issue is we don't know what all was being said because, of course, they're not going to have mics right there. They don't mic him up.
All I know is that she says he wasn't going to work no more games.
I feel that's the only thing you're going to keep pointing towards.
That's the only thing, because it was the funniest thing. It was so funny because I know she wanted an apology because she felt he overreacted.
Well, the International Tennis Association is not going to issue any kind of apologies for judges' actions. Whether or not he went by the rules or he was obviously possibly targeting her, like they're not going to issue a statement of apology towards it. In fact, they completely backed Ramos up about this whole thing.
They might lose a lot of people, a lot of fans. Serena maniacs.
Wow.
Let's move on to something more exciting, I guess.
I can't believe he's still just saying Serena maniacs. Like, I'm so disappointed. Thank you, sir.
I'm just saying. That's the only thing I can think of. Serena maniacs are gonna run wild. Just like
I honestly feel like it's not like that, but I'm gonna still let you feel that way. But
tomato.
Let's get off the tennis court and let's head to the gridiron. Week 1 of the NFL season in the books. We had some snoozers. We had some blowouts. We had some surprises.
We did.
And we had some Pirates invading New Orleans.
Yes, the whole Stick Carrier Nation was in New Orleans. And I think Ryan Fitzpatrick beard it must have had some magic dust in it. I mean, he was on fire out there. I mean, everybody got some touches, I think. Everybody got a touch.
Obviously, we need to start talking about that game. The New Orleans Saints fell to the Buccaneers 40-48, which is the actually set the record for the most points scored by two teams combined in a Week 1 game in NFL history. But, sir, I'm going to give you the floor. I'm going to let you do the recap.
I mean, I didn't watch the whole game because I think I was at church for the beginning portion. But when I got out of church, I immediately went to Bleacher Report.
Doc was just praying. He was like, please let Ryan Fitzpatrick just destroy them.
So when I first started watching the highlights and I first started seeing the score go up, of course, I saw the Saints score, and we kicked a field goal, I believe, in the beginning of the game, or vice versa. And then I just started seeing points going up. So it was like 14-10, and then it was like, then we just started scoring. And I just noticed that we were scoring back to back.
Yes.
I don't think we punted till maybe the second or third quarter. Like, we were really scoring, back to back. Then we had a scoop and fumble and scoop and score. So it was interesting to watch. Now, the only thing I would say is that the first half, the defense looked very, very good. But the second half, I mean, that secondary, it still has some work to be done.
I agree.
I think we lost a corner or two. I know Brent Grimes is down, and I know Hargraves is on IR now. But it's going to be interesting to see how the Bucs pick it up. But, I mean, Drew Brees almost let them back. If they didn't misuse their timeouts, they might have had one more shot at it. But, I mean, shout out to Fitzpatrick. I mean, even without a long running game, he was able to spread them out and just kind of light them up. Deshaun Jackson, Mike Evans, who, despite popular belief, does have speed.
Sometimes facts don't lie. But, I mean, I had a chance to, catch the highlights, and I would say I was very impressed with your offense. And Shannon Sharp actually said something interesting that I agree with him 100%, actually. He said that the Buccaneers have one of the best receiving cores in football, and that Jameis Winston did not take advantage of it. And that's going to cause Jameis Winston to lose his job.
I agree.
You like Jameis.
I agree and disagree. I agree he didn't take advantage of him. He did have some timing issues. I disagree. The offensive line that we put on the field this week, if that offensive line plays the entire year without injuries, it doesn't matter who's playing back there, quarterback. We got a new offensive line and a new play caller. You can't discredit those two things. So, I mean, I agree with what he's saying. Jameis didn't get an opportunity to use those weapons, but that offensive line last year was not really that good. It was a makeshift offensive line. I didn't really like most of the people on it, and I'm pretty happy that we shuffled some things around. This offensive line right now, their pass blocking has been so much better. And if this group stays on this field, it don't matter if it's Patrick back there. It don't matter if James back there. I don't care if Ryan Griffin, the third string quarterback, is back there. We are going to be a problem because we do got a lot of weapons. Even if Deshaun Jackson, who went down with a concussion in the fourth quarter, even if he doesn't play, you still got Mike, you still got Cam, you still got OJ, you still got Godwin and Humphreys. Like, I agree. And that's why when you posted that post about us having the seventh best receiving core, I was like, you know what? I'm good at number 7.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we should be top 5, but I get it, timing issues, and we just don't have that chemistry yet. But you saw it this week. This is what I've been telling people. I felt like we had for the last year and a half, 2 years. It's just our offensive line could never hold the blocks long enough and give Jameis an opportunity to succeed. And the play calling is always long and drawn out. But Fitzpatrick was getting that ball out super quick, and it helps. Yep. It helps.
Well, and that's the thing that a lot of people like about Ryan Fitzpatrick. That he's a quarterback that wants his playmakers to do the work. Like, get the ball to his playmakers, let them work.
True. And I think this
and he threw for over 400 yards. He got 4 TDs, no picks. Like, he had a very, very good game.
I believe he's the play caller. Yeah.
Like, I believe he was probably top 5 or top 3 quarterback for the first week.
Here's player of the week, definitely. But my thing is
like, Drew Brees, he wasn't no slouch either.
No, I mean,
they only gave up 1 sack in the game.
Yeah, we had 1 sack. We had a good amount of
sack and no interceptions for the Buccaneers defense, which I think they need to get that one pushed up a little bit. I believe you said that your secondary still needs a lot of work.
Well, you got to keep in mind also that the secondary, historically, the secondary only goes as far as the defensive line goes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I saw some pressure up front in the first half, not so much in the second half. So I would say that if this defensive line can get more pressure on this offensive line, or any other offensive lines, that we can get more pressure, it will cause those turnovers. But, I mean, Drew Brees is, he's an assassin. I mean, he's going to pick you apart. He's a great quarterback. And, I mean, there's nothing really more to say about him. They have a great receiver in Michael Thomas. Of course, Alvin Kamara did his thing. But, I mean, we won the game, so that's all I can really say about that.
And, of course, still for the record, I did say that the Bucs will probably start 2-1.
Yeah,
like I said, people are starting to, give them so much credit, but
I don't want
I tell everyone else,
I want them to ride that 0-3 train. I want them to ride their 0-3 train.
This is still week 1. We still have 16 more games, ladies and gentlemen.
Absolutely.
Anything can happen, but the Buccaneers are part of Stephen A. Smith's top 5 teams of the season so far.
Of course it is. Of course he would say that. So I want to hear that. They all
number 5.
1-3. Yeah, it's all good.
So that was definitely something, but it was a very fun game to watch. All in all, though.
Let's talk about Skip's Cowboys. Skip.
Well, the Cowboys fell to the Panthers 8-16. It was a very nasty game for both teams.
I had Cam starting as my quarterback.
The only takeaway I could take for both of these teams is that the defense for both sides came to play. Otherwise, that offense, both sides of the team, the offense for both teams, y'all need to start doing some 3-a-days or something, because y'all need to get something together.
I'm surprised. 8 points. That's pretty bad.
Dare I say, the Cowboys are looking like the team I said they was going to be at the start of the season.
What you said, 4? You said 4-12 or something?
I said, don't be surprised if they go 4-12.
Now, I hate it because I started Cam as my starting quarterback, thinking he might run all over the Cowboys. He might do a little thing. I missed the auto draft. I think I said last week I was in the
Well, I mean, Cam rushed for 58 yards. He only had 161. So, it was...
He didn't have a good game. It luckily, everybody else had a good game. I bragged on Facebook about signing James Conner, who played for the Steelers this week or last week.
Which I would say, like, if Le'Veon Bell's not playing, always start that running back.
He's not playing. They already said he didn't show up. But
they took him off the depth chart today.
They
took him off the depth chart today.
That's what I'm saying. The longer he holds out, the less money he's probably going to get, because if James Conner comes in and keeps playing well, I mean, again, the guy's making $14.5 million, and you're showing that a guy who doesn't make that much money is going to give you, even though he rushed for 31 carries for a little over 100 yards. I'm talking about Conner.
31 rushes, okay.
Yeah, 31 carries. he was productive.
Yes.
You know, and that's what they need. They don't care how many times you got to run the ball. He's productive. You know, and my thing is,
but let's get back
to the Cowboys. I know you don't want to skip past the Cowboys.
Well, because you say you want to talk about the Cowboys, so let's talk about the Cowboys.
I mean, it was really not. I thought skipping it was perfect because there was really not that. I mean,
but I'm trying to get what are your takeaways from this as they head into their. Well, we're going to start doing the week 2 predictions, but like, what is your takeaway from this game for both teams?
I mean, I think they got what they expected. I mean, Cole Beasley has 7 catches for 73 yards. Obviously, they, like you said, defensively they were okay, but I mean, obviously they're going to need a little bit.
That was pretty stout. DeMarcus Lawrence was getting up in there, got a big sack on Cam Newton, I believe around the 4th quarter.
They're going to need a little bit more from Freaky Zeke.
Well, and that's the problem. And I was hoping you was going to say this, but you didn't, and it slightly disappointed me. But Zeke Elliott barely carried the ball in the second half.
I mean,
I believe in the 4th quarter, they said that he only carried the ball once.
I mean,
they need more Freaky Zeke.
Either.
But the other issue that the Cowboys have, and we both said this because a certain guy who put up an X after every single touchdown, got cut from the team.
He did. But I mean, Cole Beasley
game right there, is he a number 1 though? Is he a number 1 though?
They made him a number 1. They made him a number 1. It's weird, but they made him a number 1.
I don't know, man.
7 catches and 73 yards is not terrible.
I don't know, man. I mean, if he's Wes Welker, we'll have a totally different conversation. But I mean, Cole Beasley, the past couple of years when he was the top receiver for the Cowboys, he really only took advantage of the fact that Dez Bryant was on the other side.
It's true. I agree.
With Cole Beasley playing the slot. So, I mean, are we really going to sit there and say Cole Beasley number 1?
I mean, that's why they went out and signed Allen Hurns. I mean, that was the whole idea. Allen Hurns is supposed to replace Dez.
He only had 1 catch.
For 20 yards. I see that. So, I mean, it's 1 week. I mean, let's see what happens next week. Maybe.
But the reason I mentioned that is the play calling. That's the one issue I had.
But I've been saying, Scott Linehan is he's a pretty good offensive coordinator. It's going to be tough with this new group because you did have Dez, you did have Jason Witten, who looked great in the booth, I guess.
Well, the problem is they wanted Terrence Williams to be the number 1.
I mean, he's not a number 1. He's definitely
and now you're saying Cole Beasley going to be the number 1.
I mean, Cole Beasley knows how to catch passes. I mean, he knows how to get open at least.
He's catching all those slant routes and stuff. Come on.
Terrence Williams definitely benefited from having both Dez and Cole Beasley.
Oh, absolutely, hands down.
He always benefited from that.
And Terrence Williams and I used to go to the same dry cleaner. So, I'm not afraid to say this to his face.
You need to tell him, you need to call Dez and see if he can come back.
Okay, I have lengthy arguments with my dry cleaner, who's a great lady to handle my stuff, and we talk about stuff, and she asks my opinions about the Cowboys, even though she's a diehard Cowboys fan, and, she gave me that motherly, I'm disappointed in you look when I tell her that the Cowboys going to suck this week. But she respect my candor for me to still be honest about it.
Well, let me ask you, because some people are hitting the panic meter, and I even saw some complaints on Facebook over the weekend saying to take Dak out of the game. Give me anybody but Dak right now.
I feel like they're starting to see what Dak Prescott finally is in the NFL.
Are they calling the same plays though? Are they calling the same plays that made him successful?
I would say I would say this. I would say that the Cowboys fan base are finally starting to get that dose of reality that Dak Prescott benefited on his rookie year with how dominant Zeke ran the ball.
It's true.
Because at that point, you had to put 8 people in the box. So now it's basically man coverage. And now Dak is basically striving. He only had 4 interceptions his first year. And they thought that he was only going to get better. But then the Zeke sexual rape allegation came along.
Yes.
And Dak fell down to earth a smidge if you're a Cowboys fan.
If you're a Cowboys fan, this is right.
And this year, and I'm a
look out there. Make sure you look out.
I'm gonna say this right now for you, the people. Dak Prescott is slowly turning into the Alex Smith of the NFL.
Don't do that to Alex. Don't do that to Alex. And I was going to talk about Alex
because Dak Prescott is a time manager, a game managing quarterback.
Don't do that to Alex. Don't you do that to Alex. Let me tell you. And we can move on to the Redskins game because we're done with the Cowboys. But
we're finished with the Cowboys. Stick a fork in them. They're done.
Alex Smith is a game manager.
Put him in a body bag, Johnny. Yeah.
But Alex Smith is a winner, and I think that's the separate. Alex Smith had 21 for 30. Alex Smith's going to be accurate with the football, 255 yards, 2 touchdowns. But really, having Adrian Peterson tote the rock 26 times for 96 yards, kind of more than what I expected him to carry. 20 times, maybe.
You heard me say this last week. You asked me what do you think AP is going to do? I'm like, he's going to try to prove these status wrong. He's going to be like, give me the rock. Give me the rock.
But not only 26 carries, but 2 catches for 70 yards. That's a lot.
Yeah.
But Alex Smith is pretty efficient, so it really helped. But now I wish I would have started Alex Smith. If I knew he was going to play like this, I would have started Alex Smith.
255, 2 TDs thrown, ran for 14 yards. Yeah, I'll probably start Alex Smith instead of him.
I would have started him. I thought the Cardinals defense was better than that. Trash.
No.
TAS.
No, the Cardinals is basically the retirement home of the NFL.
Wow.
Oh, I didn't say this. There's many people who said the same thing about the Arizona Cardinals.
And it's crazy because it's like I had just picked David Johnson in my DraftKings week this week, but now I might have to go back and.
You obviously should have just, right beforehand, he's like, "Hey, Prof, what do you think about David Johnson against the Redskins?" I would have said, "I don't think they're gonna rush him. I don't think they're gonna have him run the ball."
So it's not this. I'm talking about this week coming. I don't know. I don't think it matters who they're playing against. I
meant for week 1. I just meant for week 1.
Well, now
they made Sam Bradford act like he's Carson Palmer.
So I don't know, and I don't like Carson Palmer.
I know. Even Carson Palmer said that too. He's like, I don't know why they didn't just run the ball.
Now I'm all confused. I'm gonna have to take David Johnson off. I'm gonna take anybody else. I'm gonna take Melvin Gordon. I'm taking Melvin Gordon.
But let's talk about another game. And this is one that we talked about. The layeth the smacketh down all over the Buffalo Bills Capriali. Nathan Peterman.
He is who we thought he was.
First of all, when they announced Nathan Peterman was going to be the starting quarterback, Doc and Prof both said, but why?
But why?
Wasn't it the same guy who threw 5 picks in his first game?
It was.
Wasn't this the guy who just stunk it up and you said, let's just go with that guy?
My thing is, it's already
First of all, the head coach needs to be fired immediately.
Yeah, that's a terrible decision.
You don't start the season like that. You don't start the season like that. 5 for 18, 24 yards thrown with 2 TDs. You don't start the season like that.
Mm-mm.
At all.
My thing is now I was looking at a Bleacher Report article earlier, and one person wrote that the Bills should just stop playing and sign Colin Kaepernick at this point. Kaepernick's got to be better than Peterman. Come on.
I feel like we already went down this rabbit hole where we talked about how many backup quarterbacks and some actual starting quarterbacks who Colin Kaepernick is better than.
Yeah, so I mean,
but if he didn't get signed during this off season when we knew this stuff, they're not going to sign him now.
It's true. It's true. But my thing is like, I'm glad Josh Allen's getting a start. Obviously, the Bills should have took a lesson out of the Jets playbook and just said, you know what, if the Jets are going to go with their rookie, we should go with ours.
Just go with our rookie too. I mean, and he still had a decent showing. I mean, granted, he started midway through the third quarter, but you know, 6 for 15, 74 yards. But I mean, he kept it clean, no picks. Yeah. He didn't throw a TD, but you know, but at the same time, the whole team freaking stunk.
No picks is real big playing with Peterman. He should get cut today.
He should get cut. The head coach should be fired. The OC should be fired. Like, hit the reset button right now.
I'm
dead serious too.
I mean, just quickly about the Ravens. I mean, Joe Flacco, you know, had a pretty decent game. Lamar Jackson,
Jersey Joe came into this game like, oh, y'all trying to replace me?
Yeah.
Threw for what, 25, 34, 236 and 3 TDs, no picks. You know, we talk about how Jersey Joe was throwing a lot of picks before. He didn't throw not one.
Not one. At least this week he didn't. Lamar Jackson got some action. He actually was suited as number 2 quarterback this week. It was kind of interesting. I know RG3
is the number 2.
Well, I know in the past he was slated as the number 2, but maybe they just wanted to see how this guy, you know, Lamar Jackson got out there. But I don't know, nothing too spectacular. I mean, they're playing against the Bills. Nathan Peterman made it easy for the Ravens. Let's see what happens in week 2. But since I mentioned the other
no, there's no week 2. No. Head coach will fire immediately.
I mean, let's see what happens to the Ravens with week 2, not the Bills. I mean, the Bills. I'm talking about the Ravens. I mean, I think this was basically an extra preseason game.
True.
I was just going to say,
but
being that we started talking about a rookie, let's
go to another rookie. Actually, no, not even the Jets. Let's talk about the number 2 pick, Saquon Barkley.
I mean, I had him on my fantasy team. He looked good. He had a really strong run.
He had a very good game. 18 carries, 106, 1 TD. He averaged almost 6 yards a carry. That's what New York football wanted. That's what Mama Gotti wanted for a team. They still lost, but at least it
really slow.
Oh yeah. But when he broke free, it was magic though.
So I got a couple texts while this game was playing, and I think the one consensus was that the offensive line still stinks. Even though they made these adjustments, the offensive line still stinks.
I felt like I said this all in the offseason. I really felt like we both said this during the offseason. How come people don't listen to the show, sir?
I have no idea. I was like, the Bucs offensive line looks great.
Obviously, that person who was texting you need to watch the show because, you know, we obviously know what we're talking about.
I mean, I tried to tell him. I was like, and one of my cousins said before the season started that he could see Super Bowl in the Giants' future. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what Giants are you talking about? You must be talking about the San Francisco Giants. And I don't have October here to tell me if that's an accurate joke or not.
It's not an accurate joke because...
You know, but I mean, honestly, though, it's just one of those things where you can't sign the best right tackle from the Patriots and make him a left tackle.
And expect just magic. Like,
right.
It just doesn't work that way.
You just can't do it.
The Giants fell to the Jaguars. It was a very close game. It's kind of a weird score, 20-15, but I mean, the Giants had a chance to make something happen. They couldn't make it happen. Simple football.
Let's go over about 2 or 3 more games here. Let's see. Let's go. I mean,
you already know which game you already know that was the game I was going to want to talk about right there.
The Browns and the Steelers, I mean, it was a rough one.
This was the game that people were saying that Big Ben needs to retire. I had a chance to And you know what? Shout out to Chisel Adonis. If y'all don't watch his stuff on YouTube, watch his stuff because he had quite the tangent about Big Ben Roethlisberger. It was hilarious. After the first pick, he's like, don't worry about it, Big Ben. It's not like you're going to throw another one, right? And then he did it again. And then he did it again.
3 times. I mean, really, the running of James Conner is what kept him in it. That's
literally the only thing that kept him in it.
I mean, Juju Smith-Schuster did his thing. Antonio Brown did his thing. I mean, the defense of the Steelers looked like they did good. Looked like they had several sacks.
They did?
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Showing 7 sacks.
7 sacks and a pick.
Tyrod did okay. I mean, he had over 200 all-purpose yards. I don't know outside. I know Josh Gordon had the one clutch catch. I mean, that was it. But outside of that,
which was Jarvis a TD.
Landry, Jarvis Landry did his thing.
Jarvis Landry out there blessing people.
Bless him. That's right. That's right. It looks like the Browns had about 3 or 4 sacks. So I mean, to me, it's like at least they're saying the Browns haven't won in so many years, but at least they didn't lose this one.
I feel like the Browns are getting way too much heat so far this season.
Way too much heat, and it could be because it could be Hard Knocks. I mean, when you're on Hard Knocks, it's rough. It's rough.
I feel like
rough.
It is rough. It is rough. And one thing, and you said this to me off the podcast, that Hard Knocks does, it makes people really buy into the team heading into the season.
It does.
Because they show so much. And then they stake it up during the season, then they stake it up. Like, nothing you can really do about it. But the Browns, I mean, I'm okay with this tie. It shows that they are fighting.
It shows that the coach should live to coach another day.
Probably not. Probably not.
I mean, they have the coordinators to be better. I just think it has to come together. And who knows if Tyrod is really the guy? Maybe Baker has to come in.
And that's what people are saying. Not you, the people, but we're talking about the media personalities out there in the sports world are saying the only way Hugh Jackson could keep his job is to make Baker Mayfield start. And I feel like it might be too soon. I feel like they need to do at least a 3 to 4 game trial period with Tyrod.
I agree. I mean, Tyrod's a winner. I mean, he's a gamer. He's going to play.
He is a gamer. He's a gamer. I mean, how many times has he led the Bills to comeback wins?
He's just not the 400-yard passing guy that you see on other teams. And I guess that's something that you have to get over. I mean, he's no Aaron Rodgers.
But they're gonna want to rush the ball.
And that's where they're still.
Carlos Hyde had 22 carries. Like they're gonna want to rush the ball.
They're working on that. I mean, but see, here's the thing: Tyrod's not a big thrower, so you don't have that fear. You know what I mean? Like now, let's say for example, Ryan Fitzpatrick or some of these other guys who have bigger games, Aaron Rodgers, of course, you have to kind of respect that they're going to pass the ball now.
Yes.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers, A-Rod.
That bad man.
Can I tell you, I turned the game off.
I don't know why you did. I don't know why you did. Why? First of all, for all those who turned off that game, I only have one question for you. Why did you Miami Heat this game?
Well, I think for me, I was getting sleepy first and foremost. I mean, I was already tired. And the way that Mac was playing, I didn't think that it was going to be any coming back from his wrath. But he didn't really do anything much after that.
Nope.
And that's the interesting part about it. But Aaron Rodgers is just he's like you said, a bad man. I don't know why Mel P continues to poke him.
I don't know.
And then Joey wanted to endorse him, but he couldn't be on the show today, and that's okay.
I mean, obviously we need to have Mel P and Joey, and we don't mean Joey Bosa friends on the show, so they can have this argument, and we can just referee this whole thing because I feel like when we was getting on NLP about it, he kind of rage quit on us.
I think he did. It was kind of weird. I think he had some.
But I feel like having two unbiased outside opinions clash about this would be good television, good podcasting.
I agree.
But I mean, let's talk about the Willis Reed of, or should I say, the Paul Piercing of Aaron Rodgers in this game.
Yeah, they mentioned that on there a few times.
What? Wait. First of all, let me ask you, because they're screaming in my ear. They're telling me to ask you. What are your thoughts about the claims that people are making that Aaron Rodgers purposely did this?
I think it's ridiculous. If you look at the actual play and you see the guy land on his leg, I mean, I don't think there's a way to purposely do that. I did see another video, which is pretty hilarious, saying that Aaron Rodgers they gave Aaron Rodgers some happy pills. I did see those.
I love how quickly people go to that, and then when they find out that a certain king was doing that, I'm gonna be the only person laughing about it.
Well, I think it was funny only because of the interview that he did at the end. If you see the video, he was just like, well, I hurt my leg, came back, and threw 3 touchdowns and won a game. So that's kind of how it was. So he was just like, he couldn't really even think at the time because he was kind of like out of it. His adrenaline probably was running. They probably did give him a shot or something, but I don't know. Hopefully that leg doesn't swell up on him. And,
yeah, they said they're gonna take it one day at a time for him.
Yeah,
especially as they head into their week 2 matchup. We'll talk about that too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, any other games you want to talk about for week 1?
I mean, just really quickly, Sam Darnold did his thing against the Lions. I know a lot of people, including some analysts, were saying that the Giants better hope, and I think this was Skip who said this, the Giants better hope that Saquon Barkley turns out to be great and Sam Darnold doesn't, because he was saying he'd rather have a quarterback for 10 years than a running back for 5 or 6. Yeah. So he was hoping that Darnold doesn't turn out to be great. But first game, some people ask the question, are the Lions bad or is Sam Darnold that good?
I feel like it's too soon to make that assumption because the Lions played absolutely terrible.
They did. Terrible start for that rookie head coach.
Matt Patricia, absolutely. People are now calling for his job already. That's what I'm like. Pump the brakes, everyone. It's only week 1. But you said about the Bills. That's a different situation.
It is a different situation. And he's still building. I mean, he's got to build, But speaking of building, one last game is the Rams and the Raiders. Another game.
I was so happy you wanted to talk about that one. Let's talk about that.
I turned that off at halftime as well.
That's the second game that you turned off that you shouldn't have.
I turned it off. The game was just boring. There was like 8 jet sweeps in the first half. I think there was one series where 2 people got a jet sweep back to back, and I was just like, I can't do any more jet sweeps. I'm going to sleep.
You're all jet swept out.
And there were so many penalties, and I was just like, this is so terrible. What did you think? I mean, John Gruden's return, a spider Y2 banana out there, and little Chucky dolls all over the place.
I only have one takeaway from this game, and it is because of John Gruden's post-game interview, where he said, the reporter's like, what do you feel like could have been improved? Well, I wish I had a pass rush.
I mean, you got first-round picks.
I wish I had a pass rush.
I wish he had a pass rush too.
I mean, obviously he's been looking for someone. I mean, a little holla player, a little Mac.
He could have turned on Return of the Mac. The movie, the song, it wouldn't have mattered. He could have.
Obviously, I'm starting to get a little bit hungry. I'm hoping Dutch is making some mac and cheese.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, he could have went to McDonald's and got a Big
Mac.
you know, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I don't know. You know.
But yes, we're talking about Khalil Mack in the trade and how that is heavily backfiring after week 1.
It is. You don't
heavily
have
backfiring.
You had one job, and that was to pay Khalil Mack.
Yep, and you didn't do it.
You did not do it. You got a couple first round picks. Hopefully, they turn into something. If not, that'll be the cause of you losing your job in the future.
It's going to be the cause for him losing his job in the future. Let's not even try.
Dirt Cutter saved for one more week. That's all I can say.
Bless you.
So, week 2.
Week 2. Let's look ahead, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about some of these matchups, and let's give you some of our predictions for these games. Now, we talked about, and actually it's going to be the game for tomorrow, so let's start off with that. We talked about the Ravens shellacking of the soon-to-be dismantled Buffalo Bills. They go against the Cincinnati Bengals tomorrow evening at 8 o'clock Eastern.
Yeah, it says 8:20, but yeah, whatever. I'm going Ravens. I don't like Marvin Lewis and the Bengals. I didn't feel like they did great against the Colts, so I don't think they'll play well against the Ravens.
Oh, it's definitely going to be the Ravens because, I mean, I honestly don't see anything different with the Bengals this year than I seen last year.
Yeah, exactly. Next game, what you got? Let's see what you got.
Kansas City Chiefs versus the Steelers. And the Chiefs game we didn't even talk about.
The Chiefs game we didn't talk about, but I think it's okay. Oh, I guess I could see why we would. Patrick Mahomes. So many
Patrick
questions.
Mahomes was slinging it out there, though.
Yeah, so many questions going into the season, whether he would be good. Tyreek Hill went
256 for 4 TDs.
Touchdown. Tyreek Hill went bananas.
He did.
7 catches, 169, and he had a kick return.
Yeah.
So, he went bananas. But, ultimately that made the difference in this game. But now we're talking about a whole another week going against a tougher team defensively.
A team that got the tie against the Browns.
You went there. I'm still gonna go with the Steelers though. I think Mahomes will get a reality check.
Well, I can respect your decision. I'm actually gonna say that it's gonna be the Steelers who get the reality check.
We're gonna see.
And I believe it's going to be the Chiefs that's going to walk away with it.
Because
if Big Ben plays like how he played against the Browns, we will not see a tie. We will not see a tie. And their secondary, I don't know if they're going to be able to hold down Hill.
True. Possibly. They have to chase around Antonio Brown all the time. So,
okay, that's Antonio Brown. They don't have Le'Veon to take away most of the stress. They're like, oh, Connor again, get yours. It's kind of like the game plan against the Cowboys.
True.
Stop Zeke. Okay, Dak, let's see what you got.
I see what you got.
But I believe it's going to be the Chiefs, though. A marquee game, especially for the Doc. The reigning, defending Super Bowl champion of the world, the Philadelphia Eagles, going against your Buccaneers. Who do you got and why?
They're going to be dethroned because Stone Cold said so.
I actually think this might be a closer game than it seems.
Yeah.
But I feel like Nick Foles isn't playing well at all. In fact, he didn't even have really good preseason either. And the Buccaneers is going to slip away with this win.
I think that you're going to see a better pass rush this week because you have 2 people who played for the Eagles. They're going to know a little bit more about that offensive line. So we might get some more sacks. If our offensive line plays the way we did last week against the Saints, I think we'll come away with a win.
I will agree with you.
I think even if Ryan Fitzpatrick plays 70%, if he plays as good, 70% of as good as he played this week, we'll win.
The next game we're not going to do every single game because some games we just don't care about.
Sure.
Like Dolphins versus Jets, we just don't care.
Yeah, I got the Jets. Yeah, I'm just going to go with the Jets.
That's what I say. I don't.
What else you got? Who you got?
Who that said gonna beat them Saints? Well, the Buccaneers said that this past weekend, but the Saints going up against the Cleveland Browns. Who you got and why?
I'm going with the Saints because the Bucs had a ridiculous offensive game. I don't believe Tyrod's not that big thrower. They're gonna try to run the ball, and I don't think the Saints are gonna give that. I think the Saints are gonna come over to win. I think Drew Brees is gonna be like, not 2 in a row. No way, no how.
No way, no how.
You're not getting your first real win on us.
I will agree with you. The Saints are gonna they put up 40.
I agree.
I mean, I have nothing to say there. Like they're gonna try to light up the scoreboard, and I don't see the Browns being that type of team to be able to do that. At least not this soon in the season.
Agreed.
NFC North matchup: the Vikings versus the Packers.
I have the Packers. I have the Vikings actually winning this game.
Why do you have the Vikings?
I feel like they're going to be going after. See what's going on over there. Somebody peeking through your window or something.
I mean, they obviously like Friday night. I'm watching you. Shout out to Holo Notes.
I feel like the Vikings defense is going to try to test that leg early. And the defense.
And this is the same team that put Aaron Rodgers on the shelf last year.
Yeah, I think they're going to go after him this week. I think they have the defensive line to get after him. I think what Khalil Mack did to the offensive line might have been a little demoralizing. But I feel like Everson Griffin and some of those other guys on the Vikings defense, they're going to really come to play.
I can respect that. I feel like this is a revenge game for the Packers because Aaron Rodgers got hurt. And Aaron Rodgers is going to try to destroy them. But that being said, it's the Vikings. The Vikings is going to have that special season.
Yeah, I think so too.
Kirk Cousins, man.
He looks good.
He looks very good. And what was the thing that we said last week heading into the season? We said we got to see how Kirk Cousins played week 1. He played absolutely spectacular.
I think if the Vikings get a consistent run game, I think they'll be really good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. NFC South matchup. The Panthers versus the Falcons. Who you got and why? And I'm only saying this because this is your division.
I think the Falcons felt that they were
robbed.
Not robbed, but I think they probably felt disappointed. They should have won that first game against the Eagles. I'm going to go with the Falcons. Panthers didn't really show me anything offensively. I don't think they brought in the necessary weapons, and they just lost Greg Olsen. So
yep. I'll actually agree with you because of the injury to Greg Olsen, who's actually out indefinitely. Yeah. So I definitely think the Falcons is going to win this one. I mean, Cam, I don't know what's up with Cam. I don't know. I mean, we obviously have 2 former NFL MVPs for the regular season, and they're both playing like bums right now after week 1. So we're going to see who's going to be the least bummy.
True. Very true. We'll see.
Another actually really interesting game, the Titans versus the Texans. And we didn't talk about either game because the Texans absolutely stunk.
They did. They really did.
Until the fourth quarter. And the Titans, that was just a nasty game against the Dolphins.
I know that.
If you want to see what not to do as a defense, if you're playing football, watch that game. Well, if you want to see what not to do while playing offense, you watch that game. That's what I'm about to say.
And I know that not only is the Duke a Titan fan, but also the local LeBron maniac here is a Titan fan. And he kept telling me how great the Titans were going to be, and I was just like, I don't think so, so on and so forth. But Marcus Mariota apparently is going to play this week.
Yep, that is the ruling. But I feel like he'd still be a game time decision.
Yeah, threw 2 interceptions last week. I know maybe he's starting to come into, he's starting to be who we thought he was. Maybe
he's starting to go into a certain zone of danger. Danger zone.
Maybe that's why the Bucks passed on him, because they knew he was who they thought he was. But we'll see, because Jameis isn't playing either. So
I'm not gonna go there. I was gonna talk about Jameis, but I was like, I'm gonna leave that one alone.
I'm gonna go with the Texans.
I feel like Deshaun Watson's gonna have a bounce back game, and
it's hard to play against Tom Brady.
Yeah, they still brought it back. Like, it was only a 1-score game as the final.
Yeah,
so
it's hard though.
That being said, they came back.
They did. They fought. It was a hard-fought game.
Cardinals versus the Rams. Who you got, sir?
Stop it. We just said the Cardinals stink. The Rams, even though I didn't watch the second half, I'm sure, they're better than what the Cardinals are offering. That defensive line was kind of disappointing in the first half, I'll say. I was expecting a lot more pressure, a lot more sacks. But I will say that there were a lot of quarterback pressure. So
that's fair.
I don't know. I'm still going with the Rams, though.
I actually agree with you. This might actually be the game that Sam Bradford gets injured.
Terrible. Absolutely terrible. But facts. Terrible, but facts.
Battle of the terrible teams. The 49ers versus the Lions.
I picked the 49ers. Jimmy Garoppolo really was looking good. They just couldn't get the victory over the Vikings last week. He threw 3 interceptions, but that's more of him trying to do too much. I think one of them was like a really, really terrible throw. Like
he kind of like turned threw it without looking, kind of thing. Like
he knew it once he left his hands. He's just like, oh, why did I throw that? But it happens. He's trying to do too much.
Just kind of like this Doc Brown's extra dry ginger ale.
That's hilarious.
It's actually sweeter than dry, ladies and gentlemen. But pick it up at your local Albertsons.
Boom.
Make sure you send the checks to Scott at Business.
Scotty.
J-Rich team, the Raiders against the Broncos. Who do you got?
I think the Raiders will get the win. I don't know what's really going on with the Denver Broncos. Honestly, I even though they beat the Seahawks, I only heard about them because they were playing the Seahawks. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. It looks like I know when I was looking for a fantasy running back, Philip Lindsay kept coming up. I know he had a good game. Case Keenum threw 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. But it's like you can't win every game like that. So I think a little Y Spider 2 Banana is going to be in better in full effect this second game, and Jay Rich can go to sleep and wake up and go to work in the morning.
I feel like the Jake Gruden experiment is going to have a slight bounce back. They're going to win this game. You saw what I did there, right?
I did. Okay. I did. That was perfect. What else you got? Let's see what you got.
Patriots versus the Jaguars. AFC matchup.
Blake Bortles versus Tom Brady.
A rematch of the AFC Championship last year.
I'm going to go with the Patriots. I just think that Tom is just too good in the system. I know they're going to – well, also, what's his name? The running back's not playing either, Leonard Fournette. If Fournette was playing, I might think about it twice, but Tom's going to carve them up something real nice just for Mel P's sake.
I can't believe you said that though. Like the great Bill Belichick like to say, we're on to we're on to Detroit. Because that's their week 3 opponent. We're on to Detroit.
That's exactly what he would say. Oh God, not this game.
The Giants versus the Cowboys. Who do you got and why? Mind you, you have J5 listening, and you got Mama Gotti listening too.
I mean, there's several people listening, but I'm sure there's going to be one person that's going to be disappointed, and whatever. But from what I've seen, this is tough. I wouldn't be surprised if this game ends in a tie, but
the funny part is I was going to jokingly say it was a tie too.
And the only reason I say that is because I don't know what to expect from the Cowboys offense, but I know that the Giants offensive line is so doo-doo that the Cowboys defensive line might cause a lot of havoc, and Eli might throw some interceptions.
Not some. He's going to at least throw 2.
But with Saquon Barkley and Odell Beckham show me the money junior, I'm going to go with the G-Men.
Oh, I'm going with the G-Men just because of the Cowboys. They're going to find a way to shoot themselves in the foot.
Hopefully they don't, but for J5's sake.
No, they're going to shoot themselves in the foot. If not, it's definitely going to be a tie, but I can see the Giants win this game.
I think a tie would be great.
I think a tie would be worse for business. In the last game, the Seahawks versus the Bears. Or should I say the Bears?
I actually wrote down the Bears. I think that they showed a lot week 1. They just couldn't outduel the great Aaron Rodgers. But I think they're on their way to being a really, really good team. And Khalil Mack is there.
Of course. I think it's going to be the Bears as well, too. Trubisky.
He can actually catch Russell Wilson.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But Trubisky's going to have a really strong game. I feel like this is the shell of the Seahawks that we're watching this year.
Yeah.
And it's kind of sad. But funny. But still sad.
It is. I think that's about it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are in game. It's time for us to do our final thoughts every single week. We provide final thoughts for you to think about during the week, where the doc and I talk about different subjects that we really want to try to elaborate on that we didn't talk about during the show. So we're going to start off with the podcasting beast. What do you got for us this week?
Well, outside of me winning $1.75 in DraftKings,
woo!
Which I'll take because I only spent 50 cents. I was looking up here, speaking of Mel P and the Patriots, it looks as though they're either in the process of or signing Corey Coleman.
Yep.
Who's going to be on his third
No,
team.
they did sign him.
They did sign him. I'm looking at 3 different reports. ESPN kind of confused me a little bit.
ESPN confuses everyone.
It says Patriots to sign Fulmer, but then there was another report that was saying that they were still looking at Dez, so it's kind of confusing. But
they're not going to pick up Dez.
Corey Coleman kind of fits in because of his speed and his ability to kind of replace Brandon Cooks, which I think Tom probably misses a little bit, which I don't know why they traded him in the first place. They should have just paid him, but that's just my take on it. So I think that's a great pickup. Hopefully he's able to learn that thick playbook. Apparently it's really, really difficult to learn because it's in whatever language Tom Brady speaks. And hopefully he's able to stick around. He's 24 years old. He's from Dallas, Texas, your new neck of the woods. And, hopefully wait a minute. He's from Dallas, Texas? And the Cowboys didn't give him a call?
Nope.
Oh, my God. Come on, man.
Nope.
That would have been the first call I probably made. The guy's from Dallas. He's a number 1, a first-round pick. It's a steal right now. Immediate upgrade over Cole Beasley. And you can still use Cole Beasley. Wow.
Did we mention how much the Cowboys tend to have issues with making smart decisions? I mean, didn't they got rid of a guy who put up?
Well, I told you about that, though. I did tell you about that. Now, if you go back and you watch prime videos all in Dallas Cowboys, not this year, last year, it's almost exactly like Hard Knocks. But in this documentary, Dez is such a prima donna. Dez is hard to work with.
I mean, he's hard to get paid like the top receiver, you're allowed to do that. But
not like that.
Now he has to come in humble.
He needed to stay humble. I mean, you think about it, Larry Fitzgerald.
I mean, sometimes you just got to stay blessed, right?
Bless him. He can't even get on the Browns.
Nope.
And that's how bad it is.
I felt like the Browns would have been a perfect situation for him.
It would have been interesting. Him, even when they had Corey Coleman, but him, Landry and crap, I just lost his name.
Josh Gordon.
Josh Gordon. It would have been interesting, but to me, it's like Dez is probably gonna have to go somewhere after injury. It's not gonna be till after an injury, or he joins, the Lions or something. That's what I'm saying. It's gonna be a weird team, like a team that you would never expect.
You know how funny that is? It's so funny that the Duchess dropped the sizzle.
Or like the Redskins or something.
Well, and that was the team that he originally wanted to go to, and they never gave him a call.
Yeah, I don't blame him though, because they saw all in.
It was them. It was the Giants. Like, he wanted to play for an NFC East team.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, heck, don't be surprised to see him go to the Eagles.
True, as long as it's after the Tampa game, we don't care. Because I don't want to play against Dez.
I mean, he might want to go to the Saints.
He might. I can see that and play alongside Michael Thomas. That would be interesting. Or I'm still trying to figure out why the Panthers haven't signed him, because they definitely need somebody.
I don't know.
But go on with your final thoughts, sir.
Well, we talked about Hungry Box earlier on. Mm-hmm. So my boy Ernesto Lopez, make sure you check out his Button Check show.
He's my boy too, actually. He's actually our boy.
Yes. I feel like okay. Our boys, fan of the show, Ernesto Lopez, for the show Button Check. Check out his YouTube channel. Was talking about Evolution, which is a mystery, champion the Super Smash Bros. Melee, Hungry Box, dealing with depression. And a lot of the depression that he was going through was based off of a lot of his interactions with people, because people say he has a very toxic personality, and he acts like that he owns the place. Like, and we just got finished talking about someone being a prima donna, like. That's kind of how people depict Hungry Box. So he's basically taking time away from Twitter, away from social media to, try to regather himself as he battles through depression. And we started to notice these things happening even more so with athletes coming out talking about their depressions.
It's tough.
It is
because tough. You're putting yourself in a spotlight. And I forget who was talking about it. I feel like somebody was talking about it recently. Or maybe they would mention it in the game or something like that, and talking about DeMar DeRozan and some other players. But it's like, once you're in that mindset, you know what? They were talking about that on The Shop.
Yes.
And I think Odell Beckham Jr. mentioned how he was walking. I think he was going to get something to eat or something. And then somebody said, "Hey, Dez, why don't you dance?" And he was like, what? Like, am I a caged animal at this point in my life? Like, you know what I mean? And that's kind of what he was basically saying. So, I mean, I think although you're making millions and millions of dollars, it's like you're still, it's the ultimate phrase of money can't buy happiness. Even though we want the money, we'll take it. And all of the, more money, more problems. We'll take all those problems. I'm here for it. I'll take it. The money and all of it.
Because everyone's got a price.
Exactly it. Exactly. But, I just think that it is tough when you're in the spotlight, though.
I do agree. But, hopefully he can battle through this and, find a solution to this, too. And, this is a savage. They're just getting worse and worse with each passing day.
I agree. It's pretty terrible.
So, we hope that, he gets the help that he needs and recover. So we'll be definitely looking out for you, Hungrybox. And my last final thought, if you would humor me for a moment, I'm going to talk about some wrestling.
Oh, God.
Because there was a marriage that took place today.
Oh, really?
Yep. The marriage of that Rolex wearing, limousine riding, kiss stealing, jet flying, wheeling dealing son of a gun, Ric Flair.
Got married today.
Mm-hmm. Married his longtime fiance, and I'm not going to use her name just for privacy's sake. Out in a resort out in North Florida today.
That's actually fantastic. I know he's been a player for a long time.
Don't want to be a player no more.
Exactly what he sung on his way down the aisle.
Probably not. I feel like that's not what was said or played at all. So let's not put that in our head. We don't need we don't need the Flair heads out there trying to come down on Debate Amongst Friends. But other things I've noticed. That's funny. Other things to notice was The Undertaker was among attendants, and a certain WWE superstar walked down the bride to be. Well, now Ric Flair's wife, and that wrestler was Dolph Ziggler.
Why is that?
They didn't explain it. I mean, I kind of just wanted to keep it surface level.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting.
But, I mean...
We'll have to follow up with that.
And that's fine. I mean, hopefully, there was a couple of Marks who would have been talking about this, but they're on hiatus.
They are on a vacation, which is fine. I mean, we'll welcome them back with open arms. Hopefully they come back rested.
I'll welcome them back with a sweet kin.
And I hope that they learn to just jump right back in there.
I mean, as a storm is coming, and I don't mean Jack. and quick side note, for all those out there in the coast of the East Coast of the U.S., definitely make sure that you're safe, as Hurricane Florence is gonna run wild all over your cities.
Yes, and it's not yet. I mean, we got a couple of days, and it's losing some of its strength. So I mean, it's one of those things.
And someone posted this meme, and it was hilarious because talk about Ric Flair's wedding. It showed Ric Flair laying in bed with Florence Brady, and I don't know if you know who that is, but that's the mother from the Brady Bunch.
Right. Oh my God.
Yes.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
It was hilarious. Almost as funny as the Bella Twins as Trash Cans one. That one.
Oh yeah, that was pretty good too.
But ladies and gentlemen, tonight's outro track is from the duo Bob Alloy, Marcus D and Substantial, from their album Substantial and Marcus D are Bob Alloy. I'm not that because that's the name of that thing. Released in 2010. The name of the track is "Lead the Followers," and we chose this track tonight because we have a lot of sheeps out there. We just need people to be followers. Don't just take things that are just promoted to you in your face. Do the research and make your own decisions.
True.
But this track is featuring Steph, the Sapphire Songstress, Tunji from Inverse, Edgar Allan Floe. I actually like that name. I might need to find some more tracks for him for us to play, and Niles. But make sure you support our artists out there. We put the descriptions out there on the YouTube video. Check out their Bandcamp page. Check out their albums. Support them. Also, Croup Dog providing us with the most electrifying opening track in all of podcast. And be sure to listen to us right here on YouTube. And you can catch us off the podcast on Google Podcasts now. It is iTunes, FM radio, Stitcher, and any and all podcast application on your Android and iOS devices. You can also follow us on social media on Facebook at Debate Amongst Friends, on our Facebook group, facebook.com/group/Debate Amongst Friends, on Instagram at Debate Amongst Friends, on Twitter at Debate Amongst Fra. You can follow myself at Ken86 on Twitter and Professor John Gotti on Instagram. And you can follow the doc. Both Instagram and Twitter are at TL Double. Thank you very much for tuning in tonight. As always, we'll be on 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every single Wednesday right here on YouTube. And once again, I am the Professor John Gotti.
And this is the podcast beast, Doc Lesnar.
And we'll catch you again next time, ladies and gentlemen. Good night. Mwah. And goodbye. Bang.
Taste the ocean.
Are you gonna behave or be brave? Empire folks are enslaved. Hurt this world or make it better. Decide if you're gonna be sheep or play shepherd. Free yourself, break the tether. Some think these are strengths ain't something they can step up. Make you weather the storm of life with grace. Life's a race, you don't compete, not the place. Amongst the greats, be the leader you know we need. Hopefully, you were really up for the challenge instead of being down for the easy route plow on. Don't quit, y'all, hurdle over pitfalls without breaking your stride. Do the people see hope when they gaze in your eyes? Then you may be the next king of a rock. If your word's true, then again you might be the first you. Yeah, everybody needs a reason to live, but so much as you grow up can stop you from dreaming as big. The world is such a vibrant, colorful scene as a kid. As you get older, it gets colder as you see what it is. See, life is something precious you can lose in a second. Your mission is to make it if you choose to accept it. It's not about the trends or the jewels in the necklace, cause it's effort and integrity that's truly respected. You gotta know yourself if you wanna succeed. I ain't perfect, but still you can follow my lead. Got my family and my friends, and that's all that I need. And that's the same set of values I pass on to my seed when I get there. I'm truly trying to focus on next year with more celebrating, more music, and less fear. So I guess you can say I'm leading the way, cause it's reality tomorrow if I dream it today.
Yeah. Come on, Floe stays in the zone, in sync with instincts, with words making you and your friends think. How can I be down? How can I emulate the sound? Hold your own ground now to penetrate the crowd. You picture it your whole life, I play no game, the same old saying. This is why the Keysborough sings some of my favorite things. I had to sacrifice a little, that's word of self-stizzle. And yo, it's so much more than just leading the followers. Yo, we could lead them, and they could just follow us, but it's not progress. Zombie logic. A child can never escape his poor projects without becoming a leader himself. With independent thought, now he's pleading for help, no matter what the cost. Life's on the line with the guns and crime. Scratch that, let me show you how to walk the vine. Left step to impress, right step to invest in your best. Like the fly sneaks, not a crooked eyes peep at your soul strut. They wanna oppose, but they can't. Now you're the new champ. Let the ones lost, so follow the new boss and give them a new course, so sample a new thought. Add a drum roll, kick out the old, and base it on a wise melody. Produce a new pedigree. From
Christ Jesus to X, they made martyrs of leaders to strike fear of the people oppressed. Then you have false prophets that lead them to death. The false prophets is no target because they're not seen as a threat to the evil powers that be. Soldiers forsaken, manipulating the chaos that we see. But Moses parted the sea and made it to paradise, and the Pharaoh died chasing them. Then Marc, can you relate with some? You're the chosen one, handpicked by God to hold the sun and lead us through darkness. The lonely one on the journey to be remembered as the Messiah, the Zion that pulled us out of the vast lake of fire. So what you scared for? You protected by God, so be prepared for the devil abroad that will declare war. His only draws near, but have no fear, cause you'll defeat him and be the king when the smoke clears.